Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. And today I want to talk about getting unstuck. Somebody asked me a question the other day. How do I get unstuck? I feel so stuck. I don't know what to do next. Even if I could let go of all my past and all my stories, I just feel stuck because I don't know what to do next. I don't know which way to go. How do I make these decisions and how do I move forward, basically? So this video is going to be about that. So first of all, usually when we have chronic illness, we're stuck for a variety of reasons, not just the most obvious. People are usually stuck because of a few big things. Let's name them on a hand. So the first one is relationships. You either have a relationship in your life that's terrible, that you need to leave and you can't get out of, or a relationship that needs mending in some way, that needs to be fixed, that needs to be forgiven, that needs to be absolved, in order to move forward. So there's a relationship, whether it's with a parent, a spouse, a very close relationship to you, that either needs to be left or it needs to be mended. And that's sometimes going on in the background and we don't realize it because we're so focused on, no, it's my health, that we don't see, that we're stuck in this area. Another place where people get stuck is with their careers. And again, you're saying careers, I can't even work. I'm chronically ill, right? But again, do you need money? If you need money and you're not working due to your illness, this is a conflict inside of you and you're stuck because you don't feel capable, you don't feel like you can do it. And this is a place where you're stuck and you're unable to move forward, right? Or you have a job and you're working too much and you hate the job. You don't like the job. You don't feel passionate about it. It doesn't resonate with you. You need to change careers. You need to slow it down. You need to take a different direction. So a career or lack of a career is often a place that we're stuck. We're either doing something that's not right for us or too much for us, or we're holding back and not doing anything at all because of the excuse that we're sick and we feel stuck. So that's another place people feel stuck, okay? The third place people feel stuck is from past stories, right? They're holding on to a story, something that happened to them, some terrible thing that changed their life, maybe a trauma, and they're afraid to let it go, or they can't let it go, or it stays with them and has changed them into a different person, and they're stuck because of it, because of this past trauma or event or something that's happened, which has rattled your world. You're now stuck, right? You can't release the past. The past is coming forward into the future, so you feel stuck into your life. So that's another place we feel stuck is with our health protocols. We've tried so many things have failed us. We've tried this diet, this protocol, that protocol, this supplement, that supplement, right? We've tried hands-on body work. We've tried chiropractic. We've tried enemas. We've tried detoxing. We've tried it all. And so because nothing has worked, we feel stuck. We feel like there are so many things left to try, and we don't want to waste our time and hopes trying something that isn't going to work. So people often feel stuck and they don't trust themselves or the process, right? They think there's one right thing that they can do and all the rest are wrong. And if they choose wrong, it's their own fault. They're a failure somehow because they could have chosen the right one. So people feel stuck and unable to make a decision because if it doesn't work, it's their fault because they could have chosen the right one and they were unable to do it. So they feel stuck in this big decision, right? They're very indecisive about their health protocols, right? They feel the weight, like the gravity, that each choice that they make has to be right. And they fear making a mistake. They fear that their hopes will get crushed. They fear that it won't work, which is really, I've come to learn over time, wrong and false, because all of the things that you're going to be choosing and doing are just bringing you one step closer to health. There is no magic bullet. So we put our hopes in a magic bullet and then we're unable to decide because we don't know what the magic bullet is. In truth, there is no magic bullet. There's only forward movement. There's only you can do this to improve your health. And then you can add another thing and do this. So there is no right? So we feel stuck because of the gravity of the situation. And because we're looking for a magic bullet and we're afraid to waste time and to pull a trigger on something that we don't feel is going to get us closer to it. So that's another place where people get stuck. And then the last place where people usually get stuck in this, the last one is personal development, which might sound a little weird. Why would you care about personal development when you're trying to heal a serious chronic illness that is survival for you at the moment? But when we don't know what we want and what fulfills us and what makes us feel loved and happy and joyful and content and fulfilled, when we don't surround ourselves with these types of things that make us feel that way in our life, we cannot create the future that we want. We're not going towards the future that we want. And we normally feel unstuck. You're very stuck with personal development because that is for future time. That is on the back burner, right? Until we're healthy, until we're healed. We can't focus on joy. We can't focus on love. We can't focus on contentment or what brings us peace or hobbies or what we like or our interest or what fulfills us, right? That is all saved for a future time when we are healed. And so we feel very stuck in that area and we don't feel authentic. We don't feel like we're being the best versions of ourselves because we've pushed all the most important parts off that make us us, the parts that make us feel happy, content, filled with joy, love, all of that. We've pushed it off to this future point, right, where we're healed, and then we can look at it. So we are stuck. We're stuck here in a terrible present, and we're not creating our future that we want because we feel we have to push it off. So a lot of times we get stuck here. So if any of these places that you feel stuck in your life, if you have chronic illness, resonate with you, then listen up, because we have got to get unstuck. We've got to start taking some forward movement if we're ever going to change our life. Okay, so the first thing to remember is that we're never truly stuck. Okay? So if you're imprisoned physically, you're not stuck mentally. And maybe you're stuck mentally, but you are not stuck or imprisoned physically. So you always have a way. Now, sometimes people are stuck both physically and mentally, but spiritually, you may not be stuck. So I know this sounds a little bit esoteric, but there is always a way, either mentally or physically or spiritually, emotionally, for growth and movement and a way to get unstuck. So even if you're saying, no, Lisa, you're wrong, I am stuck in all of those areas, I guarantee you that you're not forcibly stuck in every single one. There's wiggle room, there's movement in some of those where you can get unstuck, where you can wiggle free. So sometimes people feel stuck. This is not usually the case with people who have chronic illness and chronic pain and chronic suffering. But sometimes people are stuck because they've grown so much. They've had emotional or spiritual growth. And suddenly they wake up and they don't resonate with their life anymore. They feel stuck and imprisoned because they've grown and everybody else around them hasn't. So they feel this stuckness, like my life no longer resonates with me. And I feel stuck and tied and pulled back. Now, unfortunately, this is not what many of us are dealing with. It's usually the opposite. Usually we're watching others move forward. We're watching the world move forward spiritually, emotionally, physically. We're watching people age, get older, grow. We're watching people have fun, carry on with their lives. And we feel stuck. We feel like we cannot catch up. We feel like the world's evolving and we're left behind. So usually, not always, sometimes it's the first one, but usually with chronic illness and pain, this is what we're dealing with. Feeling left behind, watching everything else move on and evolve without you. And the last reason why we feel stuck is usually because of triggers, right? We feel like in our life, maybe our partner, our children, our friends, the situations, the people around us, for whatever reason, start to trigger us. It starts to bring up feelings, unfulfilled feelings from the past, something that we're now ready to heal, but we simply haven't done it yet. We simply haven't healed that past trauma in our lives. So everything feels triggering in our life, and we feel like we are so discontented in our life. We hate everything around us. Everyone triggers us. Everything triggers us. It's because we haven't healed what actually needs to be healed in the past. So if you find yourself triggered constantly, that is also a place where you know that it's because you're stuck. You haven't healed something that you need to heal. So how do we get unstuck? Right? That's the big question. So the first thing is just become aware. Just simply become aware that you are stuck. Feel that stuckness. Know what it's from. Just understand why you're stuck. See it, right? Go back and watch this video again. See where you're stuck. Why are you stuck? Understand this. Become aware of it. Okay, so first, become aware that you are stuck. Okay, so the second step is, instead of getting frazzled, instead of feeling cornered, instead of feeling like you have to make a decision, you have to do something, you have to take action, you're stuck, you don't know what to do. Instead of going into that mental spiral, we need to simply just stop, become aware, and then detach from the story, right? Detach from the story that you are stuck, because truthfully you're not, and just soothe yourself, calm yourself. Look for ways to make yourself feel okay with where you are. I'm stuck, and that's okay. I don't have to move right now. I'm just becoming aware, and just soothe yourself down, almost like you have a big to-do list in front of you and you're frazzled, but instead of jumping straight into it, you make yourself a cup of tea, you sit down, you get comfortable, you get in your favorite chair, you take some sips, you breathe, and then you look at your list. So it's kind of like the calm before you do anything. It's just knowing how to soothe yourself, taking that moment to love yourself, to be there for yourself, to say, okay, we're stuck and I love you. Let's get comfortable here. Let's get comfortable in this unstuckness. Let's take a moment here and look around. Let's stop and have a cup of tea and look around at what's happening, what's going on, and just take a moment, okay? We don't have to move fast here. Just take a moment. So now that you've taken a minute, now that you're calm, now that you realize you're not actually stuck and you've calmed yourself down, we need to fix it. Now we need to get to work. So, first you decide, like, how am I stuck? Go back and watch this video again. What are the ways that I'm stuck? So if it's an outgrowth issue where you feel like you've outgrown your world, your relationships, the people in your life, which this most likely isn't your issue if you have chronic illness. But then the work becomes needing to have conversations with people in your life, needing to be honest, needing to tell them, hey, I feel like you're not catching up to my evolution, my growth, what's important to me. You need to be honest. You need to lay things on the table. So this is an area where you need to have a lot of conversations, heart to hearts, hard conversations about what you want in your life, right? What it is that you want, and tell the people closest to you. And see if you can come to some kind of common ground where you feel good about that. But if that's not the case for you, and you really feel like you're being outgrown by the world is outgrowing you. They're all moving ahead, and you're stuck backwards. You feel like you're walled in a jail cell, and you're watching everybody move forward. Then your issue is loneliness and jealousy and envy. We're looking around and we're jealous, right? The grass is definitely greener when you're in this situation. You're watching and you're jealous and you feel envious, deep envy. You also feel deep aloneness, right? And cut off. You feel very abandoned. So in this situation, the first thing you need to do is stop abandoning yourself. We need to befriend ourselves. We need to love ourselves. We need to be there for ourselves. We need to stop abandoning ourselves. That's number one. Number two, we can go to the closest people in our lives and be honest. Tell them, I need you. I'm wounded right now. I'm hurt. I'm slower. I'm sick. I'm needing help. We ask for help. We ask to be included. We ask for acceptance. We ask to be loved even though we feel unworthy. So asking for love and asking for help And remembering that giving ourselves self-love and self-help and self-acceptance is of utmost importance, right? And then when we look around and we see all of just the world moving ahead at full steam without us, and that jealousy, that envy that comes over it, we need to meditate on this. We need to journal on this, and we need to let it go. We need to accept that that isn't us, that this is our situation. It's coming to full and complete acceptance of your situation and saying, there's a lesson here, there's a growth here, and even though I want to be there, I'm going to accept that I'm here, and I'm going to stay here and learn everything I need to know, because I'm eventually going to catch those people and grow past them. So it's realizing and accepting where you are and letting go of keeping up with the Joneses, letting go of looking over and pining over the green grass on the other side of the fence, right? It's getting to work on your own side. So this is tough. This is a really tough one. But a lot of times when we're stuck, we need to take accountability and responsibility and acceptance for where we are and what we can do to improve our own grass, to grow our own garden and stop looking over the fence. We need to stop looking over the fence with envy eyes and just sit with ourselves and know this is where we are, and we can make this a beautiful place, and we must start from the ground up. We must start making this beautiful yard that we are in beautiful, one day at a time. Stop looking over to your neighbor's yard. Okay, concentrate on your own. That's of utmost importance if this is how you feel. And lastly, if you are feeling stuck because of triggers, if you're feeling triggered all the time, then you feel like getting out of there. You feel like bolting. You feel like, I'm triggered, I can't stand this relationship, I need to leave. I can't stand this job, I need to leave. I don't like these people, I need to get out of here. Forget it, I'm not going to take this anymore. And you're completely triggered. Maybe you lose your stack, you lose your cool, you start to yell at people. When you're triggered, you need to realize this is a step where you need to have a lot of deep awareness about what's going on, and realizing that you are triggered because you're stuck, because you have a past wound that you haven't healed. Every time you have a lot of triggers in your life, a lot of people or situations that are triggering you, it's simply because you have something from your past that's showing up over and over and over again and needing to be healed. So this is where the deep emotional healing work comes in. You can't move forward if you don't heal, right? You can't move forward if you don't heal the past. So we need to stay. Wherever we're being triggered, we need to stay. I mean, unless you're being abused or something like that in a relationship, that's different. But if you're being triggered by a person, you need to stay and sit with your own triggers. It's not that you need to run from that person or that situation or that job or that whatever it is. You need to find out what the trigger is from your past and go back and heal it. Hi, I'm back on a different day now, so I'm not sure exactly where I was. But I just want to say that emotional triggers and triggers in general are just pointing you in the direction of something and wounds that aren't healed. And the universe is funny. If you run and bolt and hide from those triggers, you leave your husband, you leave your kids, you leave your job, whatever, you just run, you say, forget it, I'm out of here. The universe will no doubt at some point bring it back to you in a different form, in a different way, because that's what ends up happening. So if you think that you are going to, that it's the person's problem or the situation's problem, and the best thing you can do is just get out of there. I mean, if you're being, something is actually, you're in danger, that's a different story. But I mean, if something's triggering you and you just have to leave the room, you just can't deal with your own swirling emotions inside you, the universe will bring this back to you again. It's like you get into your next relationship and you're going to see the same lesson come up. You get into the next job, you're going to see that same pattern evolve again. It's because the universe is bringing it to you. It's just pointing each time. You need to heal this. This is where you need to heal. So you don't want to run from the triggers. You want to see the triggers, become aware and conscious of them, and then work through the triggers. Because once we work through our own deep hurts and our own emotional pain, the wound is healed. The wound is gone, and then we're on the other side. The shame doesn't come, right? So I just want to be clear about those triggers before we move on to the last point that I want to make about shame and deep, deep shame. And that is, we must find love and empathy and compassion for ourselves. We must be kind to ourselves and be loving and find the good in all the things and all the reasons why we feel like we're being judged, or we don't conform in a certain way to others' standards or society or even our own standards. And we must find the good in ourselves and in our thoughts and in our soul's perceptions of what's happening. We must give ourselves a pat on the back. Remember that we're unique, that we have our own journey here on this world, and that we don't always have to fit in or be the same or meet someone else's standards or meet our own standards or hide our vulnerabilities or our experiences or the bad parts, right? These are all parts of ourselves that have either happened, that we've learned from, or that we're learning from, that we have lessons that make us unique. It gives us a different perspective to the world. And this world might need that perspective. This world might need your listen. This world might need your gift. Right? Be kind to yourself. Be empathetic to yourself. Realize. Remind yourself that you don't need to hide those vulnerable parts that you feel will be judged by the world. You actually need to bring them as gifts. You need to be proud of them, who you are, what you've lived through, what you've come from, what you've learned, who you're becoming, how you feel, your thoughts and perceptions, right? You're unique. Your soul has a story. It has its own thoughts and feelings and visions and values and worldview. And you don't need to hide, right? Remind yourself that you're okay, just the way you are. And to hide the deepest parts of you is to do the world a great disservice. Right? Love yourself for who you are. Find people who love you for who you are. Be very empathetic, compassionate, and proud of yourself. Right? Do that work. And ultimately, you will heal deep shame. So I hope this has been helpful.